radio guy. I got the guru here with me. Coach Van Pettaway, how you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm physically I'm fine. Mentally, I'm not where I need to be because my Bulldogs disappointed me this weekend. But life goes on.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the old song, if we ever needed the Lord before, we sure do need him now. Coach, all I can say is a total collapse on my Panthers' part. We knew it was a steep road for them to climb going into the Pine Bluff game. Then after Pine Bluff, you say, well, surely they'll rebound on Monday against Valley, and that was the case. And without, I don't know, trying to dig too far, and something's wrong, Coach. Something's wrong.
Oh yes. It's I this time of the year the kids are mentally worn out, and there could be there might be some dissension somewhere.
You think? Might be?
Yep.
It's definitely something going on, and it's to the point to where you now, and let me say this for the record, I'm not one of those. I've been flooded, Coach, with texts, inboxes, phone calls that it's time to move on from Smith. I don't think that's the case.
No, I don't think
that's the case. But I think he's going to have to move away from his current approach to getting things done. Now, I do know this team, been filled with some transfers and this, that, and the other, but you're going to have to start building, and I know people don't like to think high school these days because it's about instant gratification, but the thing about when you get these transfer portals, these grad students, if it don't hit, then you up the creek without a pedal.
Oh, yeah, because you got nothing to fall back on. Your stability is with your high school kids where you keep them in your program, from year to year. The transfers most of the time are one and done people, and so there's no continuity. There's no continuity. So that might be an approach that they might want to reconsider.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, with all that being stated, Coach, I tried to make sense of the slim remote. Technically, in my heart, I know there's really not too much of a chance that the Panthers will make the tournament from the men's division. But can you make me feel good, at least temporarily, Coach, and give me a potential scenario that could see this thing through, if there is one?
Well,
and I know it's not, but just entertain me.
Well, with you being, you're only 2 games out now. 2 games out. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, and Arkansas Pine Bluff are all 7-8. You're at 5-10. And when you look at the schedule now, Alabama A&M and Alabama State, they got to play the top 2 teams in the league. They got to play. They both have to play Southern and Grambling, and so those 2 teams alone will give you some hope. And then when you look at Arkansas Pine Bluff, if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas Pine Bluff still has to go over to Alcorn, and Alcorn is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. So there is a glimmer of hope. It's a slight glimmer because Pine Bluff has Mississippi Valley, Jackson State, and Alcorn left, but Jackson State and Alcorn's on the road. They got that one home game with Mississippi Valley, and then Valley's feeling themselves after beating your Panthers, so that's not a gimme. So
see, and you just said 2 teams that were on a roll. And with the remaining schedule of Prairie View, they rolling downhill, or will you say uphill? Because they're going to be playing against Jackson State, Alcorn, and Texas Southern, and 3 of the hottest teams in the conference. 2 of those games are at home. Anything can happen with the home court advantage. But to come in on 4 flats against Valley, you got to think that the mindset of this program right now, man, is far from basketball.
Oh, yes. Oh yes, and see you and I just remember too. You got your end of the year game. You all haven't played Texas Southern for the last time, have you?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the final game of the season.
Wow.
And you talking about being in a juggernaut. Jackson State, okay, you got a fighter's chance on the men's side. Alcorn, let the truth be told, if you look at the facts,
right.
Bussey has had Smith's number since he's been at Alcorn.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And need I say anything about Texas Southern? Yes, it is a rival game, and we know anything can happen in a rival game. But right now, Texas Southern's hitting their stride right in time for tournament play, Coach.
Right. They look pretty good right now.
Right. So, man, when we talk about Hail Marys and whatever else you can think of, and just last week, what did we say? Well, I was saying they had to win 4 out of 5. Then when they lost that fifth possibility, they had to win 4 out of 4. Now we're down to 3 for 3, and you're talking about that magic number was 7. Even with 3 games left and 5 wins, 7 doesn't logically seem like that's going to be able to happen right now, Coach.
Right. It's you're right. It's a very dim light. Very dim light. Very dim light for your Panthers.
Yeah. Well, speaking of dim light, I have low vision, right? And so I'm used to dealing with dim light situations. Now, we can make some things happen, Coach, but a lot of stuff got to be lined up just right.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's, man, and I don't knock and disrespect Mississippi Valley because it is a D1 program and they trying to win just like we do. But for you to lose that game at this critical time of the year tells me a lot on both sides of the street. And it's not good coming from my Panther camp, sir.
Yep, that's true. That's true. But I when I looked at the schedule, I told you I felt like that was a trap game. Because they did have the heavy hitters toward the end, and with this being Valley's last hope at winning a game in front of their home crowd, I knew that would be extra incentive for Mississippi Valley. And that's exactly what happened.
I'll make you chuckle here. You, Brother Hall, and Mr. Davis going to be powwowing, Lord say the same, with the next couple of weeks. And I was teasing with Josh. I said, well, Joshua, you think y'all can have a little mercy on us to let us win this game on that men's side particularly? He said, man, shoot, no. He said, we don't want to go winless for the season. He said, we got to get one. I said, well, why don't y'all get it against Texas Southern and not my boys? He said, man, I want both of them, but I'll settle for one. So I guess he got his one. And like I said, and for what the work that Smith has already been proven to accomplish, I can deal with this, but it still doesn't make it easy to deal with. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And boy, and the folks, Coach, let me put this out there. I am not the head coach. I am not an administrator. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I'm in the dark just like Hey, Prince, what's going on? I can't tell you, brother. I can't tell you. But, man, people were in shock, man.
Yep. Absolute
shock. But it happens, right? Just don't get used to it happening all the time. So we and it's so convoluted up at the top, Coach. By the time they knock each other down, we're going to be further down at the bottom from getting there anyway, because you still got a log jam up at the top.
Yep, that's true. This race isn't over yet. Like I said, I really think it's going to go down to the last week. Well, it's coming down to the last week. I think it'll be the last game before we decide a true champion. On the men's
Who do your Bulldogs have remaining, sir?
Well, they got a tough road to hoe. They got their rival this Saturday. Then they close out with Southern and Grambling. And that's why I'm saying that you all got a chance, because they got to play the 2 top teams in the league.
Okay.
And you got to play your rival. And your rival is in there. Your rival Alabama State, they want to win that game because it's the big game. It's the game that the fans want. So we could very easily slip up and be 0-3, which would put us out of the tournament.
Okay, but then, say we do catch up with you all. That just bumps us from 10-9. Then we got to look at Pine Bluff and what they have remaining. They got Valley, they got Jackson and Alcorn.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. There's still a chance for you all.
Okay.
There's still a chance for you all. Bama State, they're tied for that 8th spot. They got their rival, us, and then they got Valley. They got Grambling and Southern, the 2 top teams.
This thing is nasty, Coach.
Yep.
It's nasty. Yep. And we making it so difficult. Valley, Coach, you beat Valley, man. We halfway home.
Yes, that's true.
We oh my goodness. But okay. I digress. I'm getting beside myself. Meanwhile, my Panthers did real good on that women's side of things. They actually moved up a notch, Coach, with that win at Valley. Now, and I'm not disillusional, and nor am I not being a supporter. I figure we could take care of these next 2 out of 3 games because Jackson State, let's just be real, they're gonna take care of their business.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna take care of their business.
Right.
I would love to get the win.
Right. It's you all in the battle with FAMU, and your Panthers. Both of you all are at 7 and 8, and then you got Bethune-Cookman breathing down your neck at 6 and 9. So coming down the stretch for this for the final seeding and finding out who's going to be the top 8. See, that's still open also on the women's side. I think we already know we don't have to think about this. Jackson State women will win it. Grambling State has an opportunity to remain in second place. The only positions that could change would be 3, Pine Bluff, Southern, and A&M. Those positions could change. And that's about it in terms of seeding. But the door is still open for the final 8 on the women's side, for number 7 and number 8.
Yes, sir. But I like the positioning of Coach Pugh and the Lady Panthers. And they seem to have somewhat gotten it together, but you got to fight a chance if you can just get to the tournament, and that's what you can hold fast with that. So with everything that's panning out, Coach, and we know it's real tight on both sides, are you seeing a potential dark horse as we come down this final stretch?
Well, on the men's side, my dark horse is going to be Bethune-Cookman. I think they're playing some good basketball. I think people may overlook them. And then on the women's side, to me, Jackson and Grambling are the clear favorites, 1 and 2. I think your dark horse is going to have to come from one of these other slots, and nobody's really consistent. Right now, A&M, they've won 4 in a row. Your Panthers have won 2 in a row. So we would have to pick from one of those as a dark horse. And if I'm going to pick anybody, it's going to be Alabama A&M. And the only reason why I'm doing that is because our next 3 games are at home, where they play pretty good at home. So they could have some momentum going into the tournament. See, that's at 4 wins right now. That would put them at 7 if they defend their home court. And winning 7 in a row going into a tournament, that's pretty good.
Oh, that's real good, Coach. That's real good. Well, I've always been somewhat superstitious, and I know, and you might be an exception to the rule. There's always a little quirkiness or superstition that coaches and players do, and you don't want to win too early, and you don't want to win too late, if that makes any sense. If you're going to stink in the middle of the season, then figure a way to get back on path and be real hot coming into that tournament play. And with these 3 games that remain, if you're going to lose one now before you get to tournament so you can continue that momentum.
Right, so you can have some momentum going. That's correct, going into the tournament. But I don't see anybody beating Jackson State the rest of the way. Grambling has to come into Huntsville. They got to go to Montgomery. So the jury's still out on them. But they're in a solid second place because they're 11-3 right now. And they would have to be the surprise team because nobody had Grambling that high in the preseason poll.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that's why we playing them, and that's why we trying to get them done. Talking with our guru, Coach Van Pettaway, about this basketball jambalaya that we got going on. Well, Coach, the most exciting thing about the country is when it gets to this March Madness, and it starts with your conference tournaments and everything. And as you looking in here, and we kind of talked about these dark horses. A lot of people don't know what it takes to prepare for games and to do these games, and it's a labor of love. None of us are getting rich per se, but just the atmosphere. What is it like for you when you get back to go to the scene of the crime, if you would, coach some of these teams in a conference you've had much success in, and then being known and respected throughout the conference? What is it like for you personally when you get a chance to do these games?
Well, I love it, man, because, number one, I love basketball. I love people. And as a coach, it was never a job for me because it's just something that I love. My biggest thrill was watching me bring in immature young men, in some cases, as freshmen, and watch them grow into adults and productive citizens in society. So watching the growth and development of the players was foremost the biggest thrill that I had in coaching. And then just to be around some of the same people that I coached against, and then even these newcomers, and most of these guys, through the years I've had, I've come across most of the guys that are in our league, and just to see them and to see their development and their growth, it's just fantastic. It keeps me young. It keeps me going. And I just love the game of basketball. I just love people. I've always been a people person. So being around different athletes, seeing all these different teams play and watching them compete and watching them overcome adversity, that's a big part of how the game of basketball is played. But at the same time, it's also a big part of life, overcoming adversity. So it's just been great, and I'm blessed. I am truly blessed to be in the position that I'm in, and I give it all to the man upstairs because he's guided my steps. He's guided my steps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's guiding all of our steps, and you can hear the enthusiasm, the interest coming through your broadcast, and I know you work well with your people at Bulldog Broadcast, but I love to hear you and Brother Hall get up there and work that thing out. I think you all fit well together, man, and I think you all complement each other quite well.
Right, I do. I love Lee. He's a true a professional, and he loves his craft, and he does an outstanding job with it. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So all this will begin on March 13th through the 16th from Birmingham, Alabama. And right now you're saying some dark horses on the women's side, or the Bulldogs and potentially the Panthers. And who are you looking at from that men's division of that dark horse?
Well, I think Bethune-Cookman's playing well down the stretch. They've had a lot of success, especially at home. So I think they're a team that people are going to have to look out for because Coach Steers has those guys moving up the rankings, man. And they're a team that I think people are going to have to contend with. Now, Alcorn State is making a run here late. They've won.
Yes, sir.
They've won 5 in a row, but Alcorn was already picked to be where they are now. Bethune-Cookman was not.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Bethune would be my dark horse. On the men's
Okay,
team.
Alcorn was they were sleepwalking, and they finally got together. Hey, we're not supposed to be here. We're much better than that. And they're definitely striding. And that's what I was talking about earlier. You know, get that struggle out the way, because if we get close to the end, we need you at your peak to get these things done. So it's definitely exciting. I want to talk about the little black eye, even though it was not in our division or our conference, I should say. Well, what was your take on the little melee that happened between Incarnate Word and I'm forgetting, it's escaping me right now, from the Southland? The end of the game. Yeah,
the end of the game where they ran back into the locker room and all of that. That was
yes, sir.
That was a black eye for the sport of basketball. I mean, when it wasn't in our league, but it's in our profession, basketball. And so anytime something like that happens, it happens for everybody. And then not only are they talking about that, the other thing that's trending is the fans storming the court. You know, you've had two athletes injured this year from fans storming the court, and now they're trying to figure out ways to stop it. But I don't see them being able to stop it, because it's like the end thing. It's the thing to do when you upset one of the top teams in the country. So I don't think you can have enough security that would prevent people from running out on the court if they decide to do it, because you can't have enough.
Well, not only can you not have enough, but is it really worth it? Number one, they've always stormed the court, Coach. They've been storming the court for decades.
Right.
And and they're few and far in between. One person is too many getting hurt, but you've never really heard of people seriously getting hurt. And for the record, they stormed the floor when Valley beat Prairie View. And how can you not expect them to storm the floor when you have a program that you've been supporting and struggling, and they finally get a quality win or win, period? That is excitement. That's part of why the people come. And we talk about support. So I don't think you can dampen that. Now, what could be done, and you know when you're on the tail end about to be a part of something that's brouhaha, and you can hear the people and see the people in a basketball case that they're getting riled up. They're about to come. As soon as that buzz, man, you know it's over with, start heading toward the locker room.
Right. That to me, that's, forget the handshake line. Go to the locker room.
Right.
Yeah,
right, and it's no disrespect.
Right. And I'm going to tell you something. I have done that before. We have been in some unruly arenas before, and at the end of the game, I said it's not safe for these kids. In fact, I have called a timeout and sent my bench to the locker room.
Right.
The only people that stayed out there was my staff and the 5 people that had to be on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And would it be common courtesy to let the opposing coach know, look, coach, no disrespect, but your people are riled up, and we won't let them enjoy themselves. We just going to shoot on out of here.
Right, and you do that, and I did that. I said, Coach, he says, Coach, I understand. I know what's going on, because when you go on the road and you are beating that home team, you can feel the pulse of the crowd. You can feel what's going on in that arena. And if it's not safe for your kids, then I think you need to remove them from that. I've had this ongoing thing with our present coach. He likes to pray after the game at center court. And I've told him, hey, man, that's honorable. But at the same time, you got to think about the safety of these kids. Some of these games, you don't need to be trying to kneel at half court to do your prayer.
Right. Do it in the locker room or do it on the bus.
Right. Some of the people in the stands, they're not going for that. You can think about the safety of the kids.
Hey, Coach, it reminds me of a time down at Pine Bluff. And Coach Ivy was coaching at Pine Bluff then. And it got a little testy toward the end. And Prairie View ended up with the win. And before you know it, we had the welcome committee from Pine Bluff, fine locals around there, gathered around, and they said, hey, well, y'all talk that smack now. Fellas, get on the bus. Ain't no need of jaw jacking and going on. You got to win. Let's get on up out of here. Bus driver, keep it going, keep the door shut, and don't stop until you get to Prairie View. You know, so I do understand exactly what you're talking about, and we understand the sportsmanship. But sometimes, man, like you said, it's best to get on out of Dodge.
Right, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Our lives and our paths have crossed so many times. Do you know that one of the worst incidents I ever experienced was at Pine Bluff? I promise you that Coach Smith was the head coach then, and this is before we got into the SWAC. We would always play Pine Bluff. It got so bad, you got one way in and one way out of Pine Bluff. When we started going down the street to leave, man, them kids started throwing rocks and stuff. They broke the windows on the bus. So we had to suspend our series for a few years. For about for 3 years, we didn't play each other because of the conduct of our fans. Now, not the players, the fans.
Right.
Because the next year when Pine Bluff came to Huntsville, our fans, they got them. They retaliated.
Yeah, return the favor.
Right. So you have to be careful with that, and you have to think about the safety of your players at all times. And,
yes, sir.
And then a lot of times with in a very emotional game, you know there's a possibility that the fans may storm the court. So you have to be prepared for that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so them trying, I read a report somewhere that's about 100 security officers or police officers around the court. Well, if that's the case, then every time there's a basketball game, crime rate going to go up in the community.
Right, because all the police officers going to be in the game.
Yeah, and you got to have some checks and balances somewhere. So I think there's some other ways they can accomplish that safety factor and still let the fans enjoy. Now, if it's something happening every week, we know. But, Coach, when I tell you, when Prairie View broke the losing streak, September 26, 1998.
He remembers it, y'all.
Them kids. Hey. It's some things, Coach, you just don't forget, right? You just don't forget. Them students went to Blackshear Stadium and ripped one of them goalposts off their field and towed it across campus and laid it at the president's home. Who was when the house was on campus? On campus at the time. Now, that's rude. It costs money, but Coach, after 88 games,
it was worth it.
Let the kids play.
Yeah.
You know, let them play. And it's just certain things. And we still talk about the college environment. That's what makes college. Right. You don't expect that on an NBA court. Okay, you don't expect that on an Olympic court. Well, it all depends on what the odds were, but it's not going to happen. But it's going to happen in college, man. It's going to happen in high school. And don't remove that. The game has become so business-oriented, dictated. Don't take some of the few remaining purities away from the game.
Right. And see, when you were talking about safety, one of the things that they can look at, you just get extra security to escort the visiting team off the court. That's all you have to do. Mm-hmm. They come and surround their bench, their staff, and walk them off the court. That's all you have to do.
Right. And it ain't gonna take no 100 officers.
Right. Correct. Yep.
So it's amazing, Coach. But we're at that time of year, and of course, baseball is doing what it does. I don't need to tell you that the hottest team in the SWAC right now.
I already know. I already know.
I dare you to call their name. I dare you to call their name, Coach. I dare you to call their name.
Those Panthers have some impressive wins, okay? They got some impressive wins, boy.
Yes, sir. So, and I want to enjoy every moment I can. This has been my soothing aid with this basketball struggles I've been dealing with of late. So hopefully everything can continue to work its way out. But it's always something going on, huh?
And see, it's good for you, but Butler University has come through Huntsville, and they have just annihilated my Bulldogs. You know, they trying to get up out of Indiana and all that cold weather. They coming down here where it's warm, and man, they have been.
Don't know how to act. Don't know how to act. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, but I still say we play more games like that. I like those games because they do give you a gauge of playing some slightly, let's say, better programs or expected better programs. And they got the budget to come down here and play. So get them on down here and let's get it and let's find a way to win a couple of them. But as my pop would say, you can't put too much stock in the early games, but it's enough to keep your interest at watches when you see it. My only gripe is that we've beat up on other HBCUs within the conference. We've played 2 games out of conference. We beat North Carolina A&T. We lost the University of Houston, and they have Texas State on Tuesday in San Marcos. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, you're 6-1 right now, so you ought to feel good.
Yeah. I told you because I'm feeling good. I'm embracing the moment. You know, what's the thing they do now? They smoke cigars. I'm smoking cigars now. You know. Red Auerbach, used to light up that Celtic cigar at the end of the game. So I'm enjoying it. I just hope I can still light them in May.
Yeah, I got you. Well, Arkansas Pine Bluff is at 6-2, and then on the east side, Jackson State is at 6-2.
So we're starting out pretty good, and everything is working out. Softball's a little slow out the gate. But I just go back to 2018-19. My Panthers started out 0-19, Coach, but they won it all. So I'm okay with all that, And I'm so glad you were gracious. You didn't beat me up too bad when your Bulldogs jumped ahead of my Panthers, but I was ready for it. I was ready for you taking of it. But to be honest with you, they both playing bad. One just playing worse. So look, we're the worst of the group right now. So we're gonna keep on fighting. We're gonna keep giving it all we got, Coach. And that's what makes college sports college sport. Now they're getting close to talking about making these students employees, Coach.
I know that you know what, it's going to take a lot for them to finally figure out what's the best route to go. I mean, it's over with. They know that they got to be able to come up with funds for these kids. They just got to figure out the best way to do it to where it's going to be fair. Because if they don't come up with a formula for this, it's going to be the same thing. The rich is just going to keep getting richer. That's all it's going to be. Because they're the ones that can come up with the NIL. They're the ones that can come up with all the extra money. And all they're doing, all they're really doing now is legalizing what was already happening anyway. No doubt. They're trying to validate it, Coach. They're covering their own backsides, if you would, for what they've been doing for years. And they say, well, you know what, the money didn't start falling all out the sides. And they were like, well, we might well let them go and get a hold to some of it now because we got so much, and the money is just keep piling up and piling up. And I'm afraid, well, I won't say afraid, I'm concerned that we're going to oversaturate. I already feel like we're there now already, but we're going to oversaturate ourselves with all these TV deals and streaming deals that are popping up. Right. I think it's going to be a bit much, and if they ever pull away from the main networks, I think that's what's going to really hurt the consumers because they're flirting with it. They're flirting with it. I know, and I think that's a mistake. And I know what's happening. These networks, these outsiders, if we are labeled them as such, they're willing to put up the money. Then they go back to the TV network and say, well, this company's going to offer me this. What you guys going to give me? Well, man, we're giving you free access to the country. To the country. What else? There are certain things that you can't put $1 on, Coach, because I can
offer you up the streaming platform, but now I got to charge the folks and justify for giving what I gave you to start bleeding these folks out the nostrils to get my money back.
Yep.
And that's what's happening. And as an end result, the consumer is the one that gets eaten up.
Right. Yep.
You know, it's like they experiment. If they saw that people were willing to spend all this money for this playoff game on NBC and the NFL and certain select games they're streaming, all they're doing is bait testing us right now. And before you know, they say, well, if you want this one, it's going to be this, and be done with it. And look, I'm going to date myself, and it's going to date you too, because we was fussing when they was doing pay-per-view for HBO and Showtime, and now they didn't call it a different way, consumer, direct to consumer now, and it's the same thing. They just gave it a new name, and instead of $40 per shot, they just charge you $10 a month and bleed you to death, and where it don't seem like, because $10 don't seem like much till you look up, and 2 years down the road you're $240 in the hole. They got a way of doing it. That's why they call them marketers. But I'm not going to be dim. I'm not going to be grim. But I will say this. There were a record number of people that watched this past Super Bowl, 124.7 million people. That's a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of folks.
A lot of
eyes.
Yep.
But do you realize, too, Coach, there were 23 million people that listened to the game on radio?
Wow.
Now,
radio's not dead.
23, people think it's dead, but see, 23 million don't sound like 124 million. We know that. But 23 million people partaking in radio, there's still room. Yeah, that makes a brother like me feel real good when we walk around here talking about the radio guy. I feel real good hearing those kind of numbers. And it goes back to the local blueprint, in our case, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. If I were commissioner for a day, Coach, I would make a mandatory deal that every SWAC school had to have an audio broadcast for their sporting event, and video on demand or whatever would be optional. But you can reach people with an audio device, and it's not going to bleed your target audience that's already behind the 8 ball. That's just a radio guy's perspective.
Let me ask you this. If you really think about it, all of our teams are doing that, aren't they?
I'm talking about consistently.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And even if you had a system.
Are you talking home and away?
Well, I was just going to say, even if you develop an in-house system, so for example, if we're all looking for the same money, right? And it ain't money to get rich, it's just money to stay alive. You know, if travel is going to be a challenge, when I know Prairie View is going to be in Huntsville, then we need to have some type of gentleman's agreement that we'll simulcast that broadcast.
Gotcha.
Okay? That way, and that save on your travel, save on, and vice versa. When that watch it here, Coach, you don't appreciate this. When that other heel comes to the perfected heel, we return that favor, right? And you could still cover the conference and give that flavor and that unique HBCU flavor, SWAC flavor, without going over budget. So there's too many ways. They were saying there's more than one way to choke a dog in cornbread and water. You ever heard that, Coach? Could you explain that to me?
I hadn't heard that one now. I always heard the one about skinning the cat, but
more than one way to skin a cat. Yes,
right.
Sir.
But I don't understand that one now. Now, how is more than one way to choke a dog with bread and water?
Cornbread.
Cornbread. Okay. I guess it swells in them, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, or the grittiness. I have no idea. I've still been trying to scratch my head on that one, but it is what it is. Like my grandmother, rest her soul, she told me one day I had to be about 17 18 years old, and I was taking her somewhere. She said, "Baby, go and nurse that baby." I said, "Nurse the baby? What are you talking about, Big Mama?" She said, "Go on and nurse the baby." I said, "Big Mama, what are you talking?" She said, "Boy, put your foot on that gas so we can get there." So you slow folk around. I ain't gonna break. I said, "Yes, ma'am." And so I nursed the baby and got her there, Coach. And so when we look at all this, and here's when you appreciate Mother Witt. Mother Witt tells us that we have more than what we give ourselves credit for. We just need to learn how to maximize it.
Gotcha.
And get it done. Get it done. Coach, I've been saying, and the numbers prove it. Our SWAC Digital Network, even though you say it's not the real SWAC Digital Network, I know you was part of that original movement, but it's the SWAC Digital Network. The numbers are there. And I believe if we structured it properly, we would support our own.
Oh yes.
We would look out for ourselves. And I just really think, and I know it's almost like beating a dead horse, but as long as the horse is there, I guess I might as well keep hitting it. But we will support ourselves if given the opportunity and understand the magnitude of how important it is. We hear it's important, but we don't see that's important because we always reach outside and trying to keep up with the Joneses if we would. If the folks see the bare work down and breakdown of what we have to offer, I think it's something that can be rallied around and supported. And with that, I'm about to give you some closing thoughts and comments, sir.
Well, we're going down the stretch. Both of our teams, we're going to have to pray for them. We both are going to have outside help for our teams.
I'm about ready for a revival, personally, Coach. I don't know about Brian. I need a revival.
And, I just think it's going to be an exciting tournament. It's going to be an exciting last week of the season. I'm looking forward to the games, and they start on Saturday. And I just think that the people who are fighting to get in the tournament will probably be playing their best basketball this weekend. And I'm looking forward to these matchups. I think we got some good ones coming out ahead, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you and I both, sir, and I do mean this when I tell you, I wish your Bulldogs well, because between our dialogue, one of ours got to make it. So if my Panthers don't make it, I'm going to be rooting for your Bulldogs, sir. I'm going to be rooting for your Bulldogs. And it's always a joy and a pleasure to speak with you. You bring so much enlightenment, so much knowledge, and a lot of fun to these conversations, and I truly appreciate you. Looking forward to you March 13th through the 16th from Birmingham, getting it done. Reminding folks that you may listen to every game. So I say from sun up to sunset. We'll be right here on the open mic, and we're looking for Lee Hall, Joshua Davis, and the guru himself, Coach Van Pettaway. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. You can follow me on X at the Mike Prince Show. YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We have our 24-hour stream on the website at obnradio.com. We can't get it done without you guys, and we love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, so don't you dare try. But my time has come where I must exit stage left. So until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.